It is setting up the meeting to Zoom or to stream right now.
I see counting down 4 minutes, 30 seconds.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
All right, we are live. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Logan Lover. I'm a senior public information specialist with the City of Charlotte Cats. Tonight, we are having the Hambright Park and Ride virtual public meeting. So stick around for a presentation, and then at the end of it, we'll do a Q&A session. If you have any questions or comments related to the project, please drop those in the YouTube chat, and we will address those at the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay. And let me do a share screen here. Okay. Well, want to thank everyone for attending today's virtual public meeting on the Hambright Park and Ride project. As a reminder, there will be a physical public meeting tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the Huntersville Recreation Center, located at 11836 Veerhoff Drive, that you can attend as well. So, moving on to the agenda, here's what we have planned for this evening. We will begin with introducing the project team and then provide some history and background on CATS Transit. We will describe the project in more detail and then discuss the project timeline and next steps. And lastly, we'll end with taking some questions from you all and providing some responses. So let's start with introducing the project team. I'll start with myself, and then I'll just go down in the order listed on the screen. I am Patrick Sari. I am a senior engineer with CATS, and I am acting as the project manager for this project. We have Brian Nadolny, who could not make this virtual meeting, but should be present at tomorrow's meeting. He is my boss, and he is the Redline project manager. He can answer any questions that may come up pertaining to Redline during tomorrow's meeting. And then we have Bruce Jones, who is with CATS as well. He is a service planning and development manager. And he can talk a little bit more about CATS Transit overall. Steve Carness is the consultant that CATS is working with AMT, and he is serving as the design team project manager. And we have Lynette Roster, who is a sub-consultant that is working with public involvement. So in order for a project to be successful, you need to have great partners at the table who have the skills and abilities to make things happen, as well as great communication and collaboration. So I want to thank each of the organizations on this team, including but not limited to the City of Charlotte, CATS, which is the department within the City of Charlotte, AMT, the town of Huntersville, and NCDOT. So next, I will turn it over to Bruce to provide a little bit more project history and on the transit system plan.
Thanks, Patrick. So as Patrick mentioned, just wanted to give you a brief history of the project overall from a service standpoint, and then also walk you through some near-term plans that we have for service to the park and ride. So to start, so this, of course, is a part of our larger rapid transit strategy for how we improve access throughout the county through some of our rapid transit projects. So this includes, of course, the original Blue Line, and then also the Gold Line and Gold Line extension that we recently implemented. As a part of this project too, we also developed near-term solutions for a rapid strategy solution to the northern towns, what we call Metro Rapid Bus Rapid Transit. And so we launched that project in February of 2020. And so through that project, that feeds in directly to some of the recommendations that we see with the Hambright Park and Ride and a few other locations that I'll get to in a couple of slides. Patrick, you can jump to the next one. And so just to kind of define what BRT is, so this is an acronym that some of you may be familiar with, but it stands for Bus Rapid Transit. And I think the easiest way to think of it is think of bus, but providing the flexibility that we see traditionally with some of our rail services. And so with a good bus rapid transit system, we have what we call dedicated right-of-way or a fixed guideway that we operate in. So it's a dedicated lane or space that we can use to reduce travel times for customers. We can also use what we currently take advantage of with the Metro Rapid series is express lanes, and that helps reduce travel time as well, especially as we travel to and from some of the northern towns during some of the peak hour, rush hour commute times. It is more reliable than bus service because you do have that fixed guideway, but then it also provides limited stops in between. So the trade-off, of course, is the spacing is a slightly further apart on bus rapid transit, but you do have more reliable service with a quicker commute time. You can go to the next one. And so as I mentioned before, this is a part of our overall strategy on how we can provide short-term rapid transit solutions to the northern towns. And so we developed the BRT plan, which includes enhancing our current level of service by providing additional park and rides that feed into direct connects, both existing direct connects and planned direct connects as well. And so with Hambright, this is part of the initial recommendation that we're moving forward with. So this will feed into the direct connect that we have at the I-77 toll lanes and the Hambright exit. And so this will provide, of course, the Metro Rapid service to and from that park and ride. But of course, it would also provide an opportunity for us to serve in additional ways outside of traditional bus rapid transit or fixed route through a new service that we have called microtransit. And so you can jump to the next one. And so what microtransit is intended to do, I think the easiest way to describe it is providing sort of a hybrid alternative for individuals to utilize. So we like to say it's a hybrid between transit and rideshare. So essentially something like a hybrid between transit and Lyft and Uber. So it does provide on-demand service for riders within a specific time window. So it still does have a service span. So it may be from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening or something similar in that degree. So it does, of course, provide that on-demand service, as I mentioned previously, but another key component of this is providing that first last mile connection, specifically for areas that we don't currently serve via transit, or maybe it's not feasible for us to serve it with a traditional fixed route bus. We do have the flexibility to use smaller vehicles through microtransit service so that we can provide better access for residents within the area. We do plan to operate this within a designated zone or boundary, which I'll show you in the next slide. And so within that zone or boundary, individuals will be able to request on demand to be picked up or dropped off anywhere within that location. We do have the ability to integrate this with our CATS Pass app. And so individuals will be able to book the service via the CATS Pass app, or you can actually utilize the call center as well to call in and they'll be able to book your trip as well. And so with the service, it is similar in fashion to fixed route where we do have physical stop locations where we can pick up and drop off passengers. But one of the key features of this is that we have the ability to assign what we call a virtual bus stop. And so that means just depending on the destination or where you're coming from, we can assign a virtual stop. And it may be within your neighborhood on the corner of maybe your neighborhood street, or if you're traveling to a shopping center, it may be directly within that shopping center. And so the benefit of the virtual stop is it allows us to drop individuals off at destinations that they're truly trying to access. So instead of you getting dropped off on the street and then walking across a parking lot to a shopping center, we have the ability to go inside the shopping center and provide that flexible connection. We still do plan to have physical bus stop locations at some of our key hubs. So that includes our park and rides, and of course the future Hambright park and ride. And so that'll help facilitate that transfer if individuals are transferring between the BRT service in microtransit. They'll be able to provide that first last mile connection so that you can have the connection to and from Charlotte and then also connect to your destination. So we are actually planning to roll out microtransit in February of next year. And so the boundary that you see here on the map in that gray shaded area is what we will be using for the initial launch. And so this boundary currently encompasses all of our existing Village Rider services, so routes 97, 98, and 99. And so with that, we'll of course continue to provide access to those key destinations, including Cornelius, Davidson, and Huntersville, North Lake Mall, some of the additional park and rides. And then also, as I mentioned, to the future Hambright park and ride as well, so that we'll be able to bridge that connection and have an opportunity for individuals to connect to and from some of the express routes. The service will operate 7 days a week. We'll initially be charging the same fare as local bus, $2.20. For individuals that are transferring to the express route, there will be a slight upcharge just to cover the cost difference. But for individuals that are just utilizing microtransit, it would be a fixed route, or the same fare as fixed route, $2.20. We are saying that the wait time will be no longer than 30 minutes within the boundary. We do anticipate wait time will be slightly less than that, but we are guaranteeing that individuals will not have to wait more than 30 minutes when they book their trip. We do plan to operate this in parallel with the existing fixed route service. So with the Village Rider routes and then also Route 290, the Davidson shuttle. But we do eventually plan to phase those routes out in mid to late 2025 and then fully have this activated as an on-demand zone. And as I mentioned, the intent is so that we can provide better access to some of those key destinations that we currently don't serve via fixed route, and then also provide riders with the ability to connect to some of our key mobility hubs, including the Hambright Park and Ride. And with that, I'll transition it back to Patrick to give an overview of where we are with the project.
Well, thank you, Bruce, for providing some background and context to the project. Hopefully everyone will be able to get a better understanding of how this project fits into the CATS North Corridor bus network. So first off, let's talk about where this project is located. Here is a vicinity map where you can see the site is just north of 485 and west of 77. And it is situated between Mount Holly Huntersville Road and 77, with this portion of 77 Hambright Road having direct access to the express lanes via the entrance and exit ramps. In terms of access, there are two entrance and exits. One is located off the newly developed road to the right called Beltway Industrial Drive, and the other entrance is located on Hambright Road. The bus entrance and exit is on a loop that is located off of Beltway Industrial Drive, and the buses will come in off Hambright and turn on Beltway Industrial Drive, come back out, and make a right on Hambright heading eastbound to 77. So as far as an operations perspective, that's where the buses will be gaining access. In terms of parking and site use, this project balances preserving as much natural space as possible while providing ample parking. CATS envisions this park and ride as not only used for buses, but for carpool, rideshare, and micro-mobility, as well as this designated drop-off and pickup area to the right. We do want our customers to feel safe, so there will be ample security cameras located throughout the site. For an added benefit, those that drive electric vehicles, there will be some EV chargers in the park and ride as well. CATS is vested in providing our customers an excellent transit experience, and it's evident in the features of this project. The project has two large waiting shelters with seating, as well as smaller aesthetic seating throughout the plaza. Uh, through the City of Charlotte's Sustainable Energy Action Plan and Sustainable Facilities Policy, we are incorporating as much native and sustainable landscaping throughout the site, as well as strategically locating the trees to provide some shade. We are planning on having bicycle and pedestrian amenities in this project, as well as a art and transit component that will be in the building, but also located in the shelters. So here are some renderings of the driver comfort station. It is important to note that this facility is for CATS employees only, and it's serving as an opportunity for the employees to relieve themselves during breaks for restroom and break room access, as well as provide a dedicated security guard on the premise. The rendering illustrates a modern building with soft touches of warm colors. The two large waiting shelters further transfer the roof architecture of the driver comfort station and integrate it as part of the shelters themselves. We're working with a local artist, Anna Dean, who has integrated her art as part of the shelters. And that is the blue decorative items here with the marbles integrated in them. So, in conclusion, this project will provide improved travel time, but not having to commute in your vehicle to and from your destination. Enjoy some time working on the bus, listening to your podcast at ease, or checking emails or social media during a transit experience. For those that do not have access to carpooling, rideshare, or do not have their own personal vehicle, this public transit project promotes equity access to make sure that those people have access to areas, jobs, events, services, and so on that they did not have access to before. So now we can discuss next steps with the Hambright Park and Ride project. This project is a design bid build project, meaning we are working with a designer to design all the project. We are currently completing 95% design through early January, with hopes to fully execute the design by early April. Right around that time in April, we will place this project out to bid. A side note for any potential construction industry people on this call, please be on the lookout sometime in February or March of next year for this project to be placed out in early bird. You can find out more information about early bird by simply Googling City of Charlotte early bird. So after the project is placed out to bid, we are hoping to execute a construction contract by early August of 2025 and break ground and begin construction through the end of 2026. And we'd like you all to get involved. You can scan this QR code here for a link that takes you directly to the website. And we do have a transit system survey that Logan can put in the chat here. And you can take our survey and get involved in the more of the transit system plan overall, this project, and submit your comments either via the survey or chat or email. And with that, we can take any questions that you all have and hear more about what you'd have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. I did put that survey link in the YouTube chat as well as the direct link for the Hambright Park and Ride webpage. We have a couple of questions in the chat right now. I'll go ahead and ask those, and anyone else that's watching that might want to leave a question or comment in the chat, please do so now. The first question is, will the BRT service still be around whenever the red line opens?
I can take that. So we haven't made a determination on that yet. I think we'll evaluate, of course, travel demand and the market before we do make a decision. So to answer that question, we don't have an answer just yet, but I think as we progress further into the implementation of both the park and ride and red line, we'll start to evaluate the feasibility of keeping both services or not.
All right, thank you, Bruce. The next question is, I take the 63X to Uptown every day. Will this park and ride change any of that or give me a new option?
So this would give you a new option. So I'm assuming you currently use the Huntersville Gateway. So this would just provide you with another option off of Hambright and 77, if that's closer for you. So it would still have the same level of service. But yeah, either option would be available to you to utilize.
Okay, thank you, Bruce. There aren't any more questions or comments in the chat right now. We'll give everyone a couple more minutes to see if anyone adds anything. My phone says it's 6:27, Patrick, if you want to wait until about 6:30.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'll pull up a site layout in case somebody has questions pertaining to that.
All right, we've gotten another question. Oops. Will there be a local option to go from my house to the park and ride and then to take the 63X?
So with the interim plans that we do have, we do plan to phase out the local service, which are the village rider routes, and replace those with the new microtransit service, which would be more on demand in nature. So you would still have the ability to use the microtransit service to connect to the park and ride. I think as we continue to evaluate demand in the area, and then also the microtransit service, if we do see a need to restore fixed route service based on the level of ridership, then that will also be an option that we'll explore. But for the near future, the plan is to phase out that service in favor of microtransit, which provides that more convenient option compared to the existing service that we have today.
Thank you. We'll give you all a couple more minutes to see if you think of any more questions or comments for the chat. All right, we got another one. Says, can I avoid using my car completely? I use public transport from a spot near my house to this new park and ride and then hop on the express bus 63X to Uptown.
Yeah, so as mentioned, you'd be able to use the microtransit service. I'm not sure exactly where your house is, but if it's within that zone or boundary that we had in the slide before, you would be able to utilize that service and then connect over. And then as before this park and ride comes online, there may be modifications to that boundary just so that we can better meet the demand. I think upon launch, I should say, we're more so making sure that we capture the Village Rider riders. But if there's demand that's outside of this current boundary that you see, there is the ability to expand or modify that as needed. So to answer your question, yes, depending on where you currently live, you would be able to use the microtransit service to then connect over to the BRT service and then take that to and from Uptown.
Thank you, Bruce. Another question. Are they going to have Mooresville Express service back?
So that all depends on a funding partnership with Mooresville. I think that we've marked that as a future plan with this service. We would still have to, of course, work through what that service might look like and then also form a funding agreement with the town of Mooresville. And just to kind of give you clarity, anytime we do go beyond Mecklenburg County, we develop a funding partnership with the jurisdictions. So before we were to restore the Mooresville Express, we would have to first have that conversation and then discover or determine rather what we can do with that.
Will there be a discount to use the on-demand and 63X? 63X costs $3 and then on-demand is another $2.20.
So you would be able to transfer if you were transferring from the microtransit service to the 63X, you would just pay the cost difference. You wouldn't have to pay the full fare for both. It would be a upcharge transfer, which would be a dollar and some change. Forgive me, mental math is not my strong suit. But you would just pay the difference between the two when transferring. And then if you're transferring between microtransit and one of our local routes, let's say the 59 or the Route 7 at North Lake, it would be a free transfer, so you can make that connection.
All righty, thank you. There are not any more questions or comments right now. We'll give you guys another couple minutes. If you think of anything later or you're watching this at a later date, I put the link in the chat for the Hambright Park and Ride webpage, and that has contact information on there as well. You can always reach out that way. Okay, we got another question. Is Route 59 going to run on Sundays during the microtransit process?
Excuse me. So we are looking at ways to extend service on the 59. I think it won't happen upon launch, but as we start to think of better ways to serve not only North Mech, but the entire system overall, we'll start to look at how we can implement more Sunday service. And I will say too, just a plug, we are currently wrapping up, I believe we have a survey coming out for our Better Bus initiative. And so part of that plan is looking at how we can increase frequency on all of our routes throughout the system so that we can have 30-minute or better service. And then also, of course, extending service to the to Sundays on routes that don't currently have service there. So I do encourage you to keep up with the Better Bus project, to share your thoughts on that. But to go back to the initial questions, not upon launch, but we are looking at strategic ways in which we can restore Sunday service to that route.
Nothing else right now. We can give it about 6:40, a few more minutes. Okay, Bruce, another question. Are they gonna have weekend service for 77X?
So that's something that we've also been exploring. I think we're trying to get more strategic in how we can beef up the express service. I think before we start to move towards Saturday service or weekend service in general, one of the main things that we want to look at is how can we implement midday service so that we can better serve some of the flexible work schedules that we currently have. Because we realize that individuals aren't traditionally working that 9 to 5 shift. Sometimes it may require you to come into town for a meeting and then you may need to leave midday. So we are looking at ways to restore that service and beef up midday service. And then I think the next step will be to look at how we can improve weekend service on some of those routes.
We'll give everyone about 1 more minute. Oh, we got another question, Bruce. This person is asking if they can show you something on LinkedIn or an idea for different service in their area.
Sure. I'm assuming, are we connected? But yeah, feel free to share me a message or send me a message, or they can reach out to you for my email address as well, if that's easier.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat. So if you
Okay.
have any questions, if y'all are not connected.
And I will say it's probably better to send me an email. I am not as engaged as I should be on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So yeah, if you would reach out to Logan, then she can put you in contact with me.
Okay. Spinner Guy Reloaded, I did put my email in there. You could shoot me an email now, tomorrow, whenever it's convenient for you, and I'll connect you with Bruce. I'm not seeing anything else. It is 6:40. Patrick, do you want to go ahead and wrap it up, or do you want to wait a couple more minutes?
That's fine. We can go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all for attending today's virtual public meeting. Again, as a reminder, there is a physical one tomorrow at the Huntersville Rec Center. So hope to see you there, and please share the news about the public meeting tomorrow as well for those that couldn't attend today's meeting. And